The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Well, it doesn't get a whole lot worse than this. No greeting tonight, no welcome back. Just gonna kind of talk here for a second. First and foremost, if you were texting me during the game around the 6th inning, I had to stop. It got incredibly overwhelming for me. I get a lot of people sending me messages during Phillies games, and like you can only take so much in that sort, because you're wearing in a game 7, you're wearing so much of your own emotions to wear the emotions of so many other people. Like I had to put my phone in like 3 rooms over because I couldn't handle all of the. So I apologize for not responding. I'll eventually respond if I haven't already. But I have to say that up front. So from about, first week of June through the end of the year, and so the Marlins series and the Braves series, this was one of the most loved, enjoyable group of baseball players the city has ever had. I've put them up there with the 93 team many times. I've said I like them more than the teams that actually went to the World Series and won one, in terms of personality and makeup and the whole thing. And I'm not saying this for me. This is not my stance. This is going to be the stance of a lot of people out there. It's unfortunate that they're not going to be remembered for that. This team's going to be remembered as choke artists. They're going to be remembered as a team who had a path, like they were 2-0. They needed to win 2 games and ended up losing 4 or 5, and it sucks. That they'll be remembered. They'll be remembered that way, because in my eyes, they're still the team that brought us a ton of joy. Brought us 90 wins, made us believe that they were going to win a World Series. And being in the Final Four, don't get me wrong, like being in the Final Four teams is a hell of an accomplishment. But there's zero excuse for what happened this week. Zero. And it's going to take a long time to move past that. A long time. This team's window is about 3 to 4 years, maybe. And there are a lot of what ifs from this series. So many what ifs from this series. We'll get into them as we go. I feel like they got beat tonight, straight up. I feel like, they beat themselves in a couple of different games in this series, but this one, I feel like the Diamondbacks did everything right and they did everything wrong. So it sucks. This one is going to sting probably well into next season, because we know how hard it is to get to this point. And this team was built to win and had too many guys shit the bed when it mattered most, including the manager. So I'll just reiterate one more time, and then I don't think we're gonna go through the game.
Yeah.
I think we're just gonna go through the series and we'll land on the game. But Regs, it kills me that this team is gonna be remembered for this. This team is gonna be remembered for what they didn't accomplish, and that sucks.
I just the problem was all the guys that a majority of the guys that we loved and things like that just decided to no-show in 2 games at home to go to the World Series. This was not Say what you will, I know the Diamondbacks got a lot of hits. They only scored 4 runs. These past 2 games, it wasn't a pitching problem. It wasn't a defensive problem. They didn't make a ton of errors like in the game, in that one game in Arizona where they kind of Bohm had that error to start and Sanchez had the, not knowing how many outs, stuff like that. They didn't make errors. The Diamondbacks sprayed a bunch of singles, got the winning runs with 2 outs. And then our guys stepped up to the plate in spots where we could have taken the game over and failed. And failed. Over and over and over again. I don't know how. I don't know why. We'll never understand why. But the young guys on the team tried to do what they could do. And then your superstars, your hitters who were supposed to come up and put games like this away, couldn't do it. And a lot of the times looked pretty pathetic trying to do so. I don't know. We'll never be able to explain it because I'm not a Major League Baseball player and I will never be in that situation. So I'll never know why. But it's one of the bigger disappointments probably in my sports life that may ever happen. They had it. And they lost 4 out of 5 games. I don't know how to explain how that happens. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what about this Diamondbacks team caused them to sink into themselves and be unable to get out of it. I don't know. These last 2 games yes, the pitching wasn't perfect, but the pitching did enough to keep you in a ball game. And your offense, which is why you pay these guys, wilted. And I don't know. It's just tough. I don't blame Johan Rojas with the bases loaded in the playoffs as a rookie. I don't blame Johan Rojas. I blame Nick Castellanos for first and third with 1 out, striking out the way he did. I blame Trey Turner for coming up in situations and swinging at all 3 pitches. I know Bryce just missed a few, but like we always talked about, he was trying to hit a home run and not just hit the ball hard somewhere. I don't know, which is what made him so good. Like in that San Diego series last year when he was spread double to the right center gap, double to the left center gap. Eventually he obviously hit the home run. I don't know. I could just blather on about. I don't know how you let it happen. I don't know how you let that happen. And like you said, this one's gonna hurt for a long time. Am I saying we would have beat Texas? No, I'm not. Nobody knows what would happen. But you were up 2-0 on a team that's never been here, and you lost 4 out of 5 games. The last 2 of which at home, where you scored a combined 4 runs. How many runs did they score yesterday? 1 run. So a combined 3 runs in 2 games at home with your season on the line. And that's the story. That and the Diamondbacks pitching. I like, yeah, I don't know.
I knew that they lost. I can tell you the exact moment I knew they were going to lose this game. The exact moment. And it was in the bottom of the fourth. I knew in that exact moment that he struck out that they were not winning that game. The importance of getting Bryson Stott home in that specific inning cannot be overstated. You score if he scores in the bottom of the fourth and you go up 3-1, there's a different feeling in the ballpark. There's a different feeling in the dugout. There's a different feeling in the Diamondback dugout. And look, they're a tough team. They proved it. And you're never going to hear me. Look, you might hear other fan bases say, and other fans, I don't want to say fan bases. I'm not going to speak in generalities. That's not fair to there are people smart enough to know. You're never going to hear me say that they're an 84 win team and didn't belong. They got there. They won 5 in a row to get to us. And then they beat us twice at home. No one else could beat us at home. They beat us twice at home. So eat whatever you want. That being said, I'm not watching a single game of the World Series. It's
Yeah.
the World Series matchup in forever. But that is where they lost the game. And the difference between these two teams, specifically tonight, was that when the Diamondbacks had runners in scoring position, they cashed in. Not every time, but in moments, right? Like Corbin Carroll, this dude has done shit all series, but tonight he figured it out. And in one of the biggest moments of the game, it's 3-2. The Phillies still can sniff it. It is still within their reach. As soon as he made it 4-2 by just making contact in a 2-strike count, by just putting the bat on the ball in a 2-strike count, and it went to 4-2, the game was over. It was over. There was no way they were winning that game at that point. But that's what the Phillies did not do. And it happened multiple times. But that was when I knew. It was there, in that moment, there was no doubt in my mind they were losing that baseball game. And then they brought a little bit back around. Schwartz hits a leadoff double. And because Trey can't get him to third, Bryce's ball that goes to the wall doesn't matter.
Yep.
If Trey gets him over to third in any way, then Schwarber's standing on third base. That ball's to the warning track. He scores. It's a tie game. And again, the balance plays itself back out. The way that the game plays from that point is very different. But because there are veterans on this team that refuse to do their jobs and have the right approaches. And look, I will not sit here and pretend that I know what these sliders look like. I won't. But at what point
At
in
some
a 7-game
at some
series,
point, it's not an excuse anymore.
at what point these guys, the Diamondbacks had no problems figuring out what Alvarado was throwing them. They had no problem figuring out what drawing a blank, Hoffman was going to throw him. They had no issues with that. But the Phillies lineup, made up of veteran after veteran after veteran after veteran, still went up there chasing sliders outside the zone. I saw the perfectly orchestrated tweet tonight. It was so well said that the Diamondbacks got home after game 2 and realized that they were basically facing pre-Jabu Pedro Serranos. And all they had to do was throw balls out of the strike zone. For those of you that don't know, that's a Major League reference. Go watch Major League if you haven't watched it. You'll understand.
Nick could have walked by standing with the bat on his shoulder. He 5 balls is what he got thrown.
Yeah.
5 pitches not in the strike zone.
And I was reading some tweets and they asked Topper about him. They did. They were clearly, that was always going to happen. He talked about how he carried them for a while, and he did. Yeah, there's no doubt he carried them through the Brave series. That like, there's no question about that, and no one's gonna argue that. But to go completely silent, after game 1, 0 of 23.
Well, wasn't Trey up there too? Trey was what, 1 for 17 or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm not just putting it on Nick.
Yeah, right.
What I'm saying is, like, no, I'm not gonna take the good with the bad when the bad's that extreme. Like, I love Nick. He's my favorite player on the roster, but my goodness, he killed us in this. I mean, killed us in this series. Like, destroyed us.
Yeah, him and Trey.
Yeah, I mean, both of them for sure. But like, I don't know. Maybe it's recency bias because the same thing happened with Trey the other night with runners on base in a big spot. But like, that was with 2 outs even, and you got to get a hit there. Where like, as tonight, all Nick has to do is hit a ball in the air. Like, just hit a ball in the air. If he did his final at bat of the night, what he did, if he just did what he did in his final bat of the night, Stoddard scores.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I know that Stoddard froze on that ball, but knowing what's going on with Nick and knowing the arms in the outfield, I freaking would have sent him. Like, what are we like? Who cares at this point? When he came up to the plate, there was no doubt. There was no doubt he was not getting a hit that they needed there or not making contact in that spot. He's just such a mess right now and can't stop chasing that pitch. They're and I hope that many of them stayed in the dugout to watch because
Yeah, good.
the
They just
Diamond
showed Alex Thomas putting the flag in our field.
the Diamondbacks literally put a flag in the middle of
Yeah.
of CBP. Like, and look, I'm gonna tell you right now, the Diamondbacks won't be back next year. They're not getting back to the playoffs next year. So we won't get a revenge game against. They got in by like a team literally losing 15 of 20 or
They
something
played
like
horrible
that.
at the end of the season.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I'm not going to say that 84 win teams shouldn't be there. They earned their way in, whatever. They got in. But this will be their run. Like, this could be their World Series because honestly, that Texas team is out of control. So let them do that. But also, if you're in that Phillies clubhouse right now and that doesn't piss you off, it doesn't embarrass you, I don't know what to say. Like, I'm
just not. I don't even want to read their like quotes about the same bullshit that they always give when they lose this stuff. I just don't even want to I don't even want to read it. I don't want to bother with it. It's just like, how would you come out and like actually admit to being embarrassed and like take some accountability for no showing on your home field where the pitching did enough to keep you in the game? I get it. 4 runs is not that many. 3 runs the night before is not that many.
They scored 5
last night.
Yeah, Diamondbacks beat us 5-1 last night.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, whatever. It's not enough with the chances that we had. Same for tonight. You had plenty of opportunities. I don't know. I don't put this on the pitching for these 2 games. Like, not one bit.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't perfect, admittedly. They let a 9-hole guy like shred them apart all series. And I get it. They held Carroll down for a while. They let a no-namer named Alex Thomas beat them.
My big what ifs are from this series are what if Topper handles the bullpen differently in game 4? What if Trey gets the hit in game 6?
Mm-hmm.
And what if Nick
or tonight
all I needed
lead
him
off
to do
double?
All I needed him to do tonight was get a bunt down. That's it. He's gonna get a bunt down. And honestly, if they told him to bunt and he went up there and did that, like the bunt for a base hit, that's a problem. Like it's straight up a problem. You know, I talked about
Yeah.
it earlier in the year about Trey being a rough postseason player, and then he was like scorching hot through the first two series and just shit the bed in this series. He and Nick just totally shit the bed, and honestly, I gotta tell you, I don't know if Rojas. I know that Rojas is like he's an incredible defender, but I wouldn't be surprised if they went and spent on a dude who can just play center field and hit. Like that's a black hole. That is a black hole. I mean, I love the kid. I think he's really talented. We saw that defensively, like how good he is, but it like some of the pitches he swings at.
Yeah.
I mean,
You could predict what was going to happen. It was breaking. It was look at strike one, fastball up in the zone to swing at strike two, breaking ball down and away, strike three. Like my Philadelphia fan is coming out. You and I had a bet with our buddy Stein a while back when Bryce Harper signed with the Phillies. He was adamant that he doesn't win a World Series with us. I'm really I know there's still a while, but like I'm afraid that this might have been like it.
No. They're this window is not.
I get it. You still have
It's,
Castellanos for 2 years, Schwarber for what, 3 more?
no, it's
The other way
opposite.
around.
Yeah.
Schwarber for 2, Casty for 3. Okay.
Yeah. They're still going to be one of the best teams in the National League. Like they're going to be. You know, they completely shut down. Like there's no. But I'm going to tell you right now that John Middleton is not going to sit there and let this roster go. Like they're not going to be worse starting next year. Like he's going to throw more money. And look, throwing money at the problem doesn't always fix it. It just doesn't. And we know that. But they're going to go and throw money at this. They're going to add starting pitching, which wasn't necessarily their problem, especially down the stretch here. But he's going to add another starter. He's probably losing a starter, and he's going to add a starter. And I really believe that they're probably adding a bat because I don't see any way that they are going to be sold on keeping him in center field all year. Like I don't know, unless they can fix the offensive holes. I mean, he's incredible out there. But they're going to throw money at something. And I'm not ready to say Bryce isn't winning a championship here. That's super premature and it feels reactionary because you're upset right now, and I get that.
That's fair. I think I prefaced that a little bit.
Yeah, it's more that I think than reality. Like they were 2 wins from it last year and 5 wins this year, and it doesn't feel like it felt like during like that to that. Like it doesn't feel like they're just getting worse. It just feels like they just got cold at a really bad time and just pressured themselves into losing these games.
But what about that changes? How does that change?
I think it's the sickening feeling that you have sitting there and watching another team celebrate on your field. Like, I don't know that it. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, and they could come out and suck next year and never win a championship with Bryce Harper. But like, I just don't feel that way right now. I'm mad, and it sucks. and it's hard to sit here and be okay. And it's going to be a while till we are. But like, I'm not gonna base
That's fine.
next year's
It was a stretch, I'll admit.
I'm not gonna base next year's postseason on tonight or next year's season on tonight. It's too early to do that, and if there, like I said, if there's anything I know, it's that they're gonna improve in the offseason, because this isn't gonna leave just a bad taste in the player's mouth. But that owner is not. It's not gonna feel good for him either. So
It should feel worse than last year.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure it does. I don't know. I'm not. It feels worse for us. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's just the just shock of it is amplifying emotions. Just I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like you said, it's gonna be hard to. It's gonna take a while for this one, because it's more inexplicable than last year. Like last year, it was a run. Like you went up against a team that's been there a bunch, and they just beat you. You know, this was just to come back home and show up the way they did. Is not all of them, let me say again, but for your superstars, your guys who are supposed to lead you through this, to show up the way they did is just devastating. It's devastating.
Yeah, my hope is, look, whatever happened to Trey Turner for most of this year, I don't anticipate that being the case for the bulk of next season. We'll still, you're going to get the same group of guys back, and they're all still sitting in the middle of their primes.
Mm-hmm.
This is the moving forward part of this, because there's nothing left to say.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing left to say about this series. There's nothing left to say about tonight. They lost, they choked, it's over. And it's time to move on. And there's maybe 7 more games of baseball left to be played. I won't watch a single one of them. I'll be pulling for the Rangers, not because, it's nothing against the Diamondbacks other than they planted their flag in the ground. But like, truly, I really like that Rangers team. I think they're a lot of fun. And I really like that Garcia kid story. So, and I like Bruce Bochy. So I hope, I hope they win. So whatever happens there, cool. I won't watch a single pitch. That being said, you've got a bunch of guys in their prime. You hope Stoddard takes another step forward. Marshy takes another step forward. Bohm takes another step forward. And you figure out what you're going to do with that 9th spot in your batting order. Because, it can be Rojas if you want it to be. And it might be. It might be. I think at this point, it's probably a safe bet that Rhys Hoskins is gone, that Aaron Nola is gone, and that you're, Bryce Harper's your first baseman moving forward. I mean, the only other possibility is that they say they want to bring Rhys back and run it back for a year with him and let Bryce play the outfield, but that depends very much on his arm. Otherwise, it's gonna be a long off season. It's gonna be a long. This one's not gonna go away anytime soon.
No, and it's going to be the first questions that happen in spring training.
Yeah, I mean, and look, and just so everybody knows, you're gonna get the answers of it stunk, but
Right.
we're ready to go back and do it all over again. But it's not easy to go back and do it all over again. You know, I said this last year, and I'll repeat it. Getting back and doing this year after year after year and playing all these games takes its toll. You know, it's amazing what the Astros were able to do from 2017 to 2021, 22. Sorry. But you know, I this team, people are now going to look at Citizens Bank Park and say, you know what, it's really not that much of a
Right.
home field advantage, right? Like the Diamondbacks went in and won, so why can't anybody else? All the Diamondbacks did was put bat to baseball. They when they needed to, they put nice and easy singles. They found spots, and meanwhile, the Phillies are trying to hit 500-foot home runs every single at bat. But you know, a little bit of that home field advantage, a little bit of that magic sprinkle that people talk about all the time when it comes to Philly. You could say it went away last year with the Astros, but I think people were kind of like, "Oh, well, the Astros are the Astros. This is the Diamondbacks." Like the Phillies shouldn't even had to come back to Philadelphia.
No.
So, yeah, man, I don't know that I have a whole lot else to say tonight.
No, I don't either. I haven't said much
sucked.
anyway, but
Yeah, I mean this sucked. So we'll wake up tomorrow and life goes on.
it's just a real bummer.
Yep. For the 27 Diamondback fans out there, congratulations.
Yeah. If you were a Diamondback fan before this year, let us know. Oh, man.
Yep.
I think that might be about it, buddy.
Yep. Well, everybody, I hope
Hope you're having a better night than we are.
Yeah. And anyway, congratulations to the Diamondbacks. Good job. Anyway, we'll be back Thursday night to do an Eagles thing. I don't think you're going to hear much about the Phillies on Thursday.
Nope, not a bit.
So, it'll be focused on the Eagles and maybe game 1 of the Sixers season. Until then, thanks for hanging with us during the postseason. Shitty way to end it, but onward we go. Eagles, it's your turn. Everybody, take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.